Most NRIs living in the UK, you're earning really well, man. But the problem is, you're taking all that money and putting it in your savings account. Or you're sending all your money to India thinking that is the best way of investing, or putting that money in fixed deposit. I'm going to lay down exactly some few steps which will help you get a better understanding of how you should be using your money that you receive in the UK and invest it globally. If you're new to the channel, my name is Wilf. I've been living in the UK for the last 15 years, and I've had the same sort of confusion that you've faced, thinking whether I'm sending all my money into India to invest and thinking that is the best possible way to invest. Why? Because you think that is the most familiar thing to do. You know the currency, you know the government, you've been living in that country for all your life, but that needs to change. Because what you have here in the UK is gold mine. So stick around and I'll walk you through exactly what are the things that you need to follow to build that financial freedom and build it in a way that no taxman comes and takes a cut from that. So let's start with the first one, safety net. Now here's the thing, most of the NRIs who come to the UK start making money, and the very first thing that they think about is spending. Why? You see that fancy car driving on the road and you think, that's the first thing I'm going to buy as soon as I start making money. You have absolutely nothing wrong with thinking like that, but you have to consider those things sit outside on the parking lot most of the time, or you're just driving that for 5 hours in a week and you want to spend a lot of money onto that. You got to think whether that is the right thing or not. So here's the part that you need to consider first as soon as you start making money here in the UK. Build a safety net. It's basically your monthly expenses. When you live in the UK, expenses can be quite a lot. And these days, everything has gone up in value. Calculate what that expense is going to look like. And if it is like £3,000, set aside 3 months of emergency expenses, because you never know what actually comes your way. You might have a car breakdown, you might have some emergency back home in India, and without this fund in your bank account, you will be in a very bad state. So you don't want to be in that situation. Instead, build your safety net, calculate your monthly expenses, calculate it, see if it's £3,000, multiply that by 3 or 6 months. Build this first, because this becomes your foundation and this will give you the freedom to think clearly. Here's how you do it. List down all your monthly outgoings, the fixed outgoings. These are your needs, and make sure you calculate what that amount is going to look like, and then open an easy access savings account. There are quite a lot of banks in the UK which gives you interest rate between 4 and 5%. So use that savings account to put money aside for your emergency. Start putting away fixed amount each month into it. And once you have built, say, about £1,000, you've got some sort of a cushion. The UK survey that was recently done, 42% of the people don't even have £1,000 in a bank account for emergency fund. As a South Asian community, we're good with money. So make sure you have that emergency fund. If you already have it, fantastic. Give a thumbs up in the comments section. If you haven't started it, no problem at all. At least you've seen this video right now and you can get started straight away. Stage 2 is killing your debts. When I came to UK, even I had a lot of debts, and you need to take control of that debt. Tackling debt is the most vital thing. Here's why people tend to actually get into a lot of debts. They look at their friends or their family members and they want to impress some people. But listen, no one cares about what you do here, and no one is bothered too much about what you have. They might actually sit down and talk about you that, oh, look, Vignesh has got a fancy car, or Javed has purchased a BMW. But beyond that, they don't think too deep into it. Sometimes they even think about you in a different way as well. They probably say, look, that fellow is earning mediocre amount of salary, or he's barely getting by, but he's still spending a lot of money on that fancy car. Don't be that person, man. Just don't get into too much debts. If you've acquired any debts back home in India, that's the first thing that you need to tackle. The best way to do that is calculate and list down all your debts. See which one is charging you the most interest. Use this Avalanche method or snowball method. Look at your interest rate and then pay minimum on the ones that is charging you least amount of interest. And then take the rest of the money and pay towards the one that is charging you the most. Tackle that first. And once you've tackled that, get that same discipline into other debts. And once you've cleared everything, then you'll have an absolute blissful peace of mind sleep in the night. When I started here in the UK, even I had debts, and that's the first thing that I tackled. Because when I tackled that, it gave me a sense of purpose. I could see things clearly in the future and then focus on what I needed to do to build my future. Now that you've cleared off your debts, excellent job. This is the stage everyone wants to get into. This is the phase where you will start thinking about investing. Now, you can go out and start investing into stocks, cryptos. Your friend told you about the crypto that's gone up in value by 20%, 30%. Now, let's park that aside for some time. What you want to do is you want to maximize your return, and you want to stay boring, and you want to stay consistent in your investment. And at the same time, you don't want to give anything to the government. If you are in the UK, we've got an absolute gem of a product here. It's called Stocks and Shares ISA account. The beauty of this account is it lets you invest or set aside £20,000 annually into this account. If you're under the age of 40, you've got an absolute beauty. This is called LISA, which is Lifetime Individual Savings Account. Now, this account lets you put the same amount of money, but this one has another added benefit. If you set aside, say, £4,000 annually, the government will add 25% bonus yearly into this account. What an absolute cracker of a deal. I mean, which investment actually guarantees you 25% annually? There's nothing out there. But here's the catch. There's always a catch. The catch is you can take out the money from this after 12 months to buy your first property here in the UK. Ideal for someone who's looking to settle down here in the UK and want to buy a new property. You can buy a property up to £450,000 here in the UK. And if you have already bought a property, well done to you, then you can access this funds at the time of your retirement, which is around when you're 60. You might be thinking that it's a long period and you have to wait for a long period of time to actually take that money out. But trust me, bro, when I moved here, I was 27, and I felt the same kind of thinking as well. I thought, I'm quite young. Why would I even plan about something which I can only withdraw after 60 when I'm 60? And then I missed out completely. And I don't want you to miss out on this one. So if you're under the age of 40, go on, open one. Even if you don't want to put all 4,000 into this account, just open an account and put £1 into that and leave it there. And when you get enough information, more than what I've just shared right now, and if you feel that you should invest, put that £1 in there and then leave that account aside. The rest of the other folks who are about 40, like me, open an ISA account. It's an absolute no-brainer because it's a tax wrapper. You're putting aside up to £20,000, and any capital that you gain from this account, any dividends that you receive in this account, is completely tax-free. Whatever that you were thinking of putting away to India to save and invest over there, invest it here in the UK. Gives you tax-free returns, and you've got better product as well over here. Now that you've opened your LISA account and ISA account, don't go picking individual stocks. I'll tell you why. Because people who actually pick individual stocks tend to lose between 2 and 3% annually. And you don't want to do that. At least if you are not too familiar with stock market, you don't want to put your money into individual stocks because you're parking your money into risky assets. The other thing people tend to do is, if they have money in their savings account, is chasing crypto dreams. I've heard a lot of people, in fact, a lot of horror stories about people getting stuck inside cryptocurrency. As I'm making this video right now, the crypto is traded between 64,000 or 65,000 per coin. And it went from 88,000 to 64 right now. And I was someone who actually did have an investment in crypto, and I felt it was so painful to watch these things every now and then. And I don't want you to be feeling that way when you're starting your financial journey. So don't go into crypto. And I am not recommending that at all. I do not recommend people to actually invest into individual stocks. Instead, pick ETF, best and safest forms of investing. You can pick any one of them, actually. You can pick S&P 500, Vanguard S&P 500, or Vanguard FTSE All-World Index. The beauty of All-World is it covers the US market and also the other countries as well. So your money is diversified across the globe. In fact, you can just pick one and invest all your money into it. The beauty of that is your money is diversified across 500 odd companies. So your chances of missing out or losing all of it is very, very slim. Here's the thing that I can tell you. S&P 500 for the last 50 odd years has averaged between 10 to 11% each year in terms of real returns. And in the last 10 years alone, it's gone up by about 13%. So imagine that. You want to be in a situation where you're getting steady returns. Even when the market is down, you don't get into a panic state because you trust in the overall basket of stocks rather than individual stocks. And you losing out money if you stay long term is quite slim. Now that you've picked your ETF, the best thing to do is now think about how much you can put aside each month. Start with minimum, say £200 or even £500 if you want to. Okay. If you're a beginner, you might feel a bit jittery to start investing. You might feel this is new territory. What do I do? What happens to my money? Test yourself and see if you can stay consistent and start investing, say, £100 each month, and pick an ETF. Okay. Pick S&P 500, Vanguard S&P 500 or FTSE All-World. I'm giving you the most popular ones and the most invested by the investors across the globe. So you can pick that and then start investing. Now, I didn't tell you the most important part. The important part is, where do I open this stocks and shares ISA account? There's a lot of brokerage firms that are available here in the UK. I personally use Moneybox and Trading 212. Moneybox, I've stopped using them because there's a lot of fees associated with that. But whereas in Trading 212 is a better one. So pick a platform, open a stocks and shares ISA account, and start automating your transfer into these accounts, and then invest that money into an ETF. That is the most basic thing as an NRI you could do to protect your money and cover it under tax wrapper. Stage 4 is diversifying globally. Now that you've got everything set and you're ready to start investing, pick an ETF that is diversified across the globe, like the FTSE All-World index. That way your money is invested not just in specific country like America, Europe, or India alone. You're spreading your risk across the globe. So that way, any country that is performing well, you're part of that. Any country that is not performing well, your broker is making that adjustment or fine-tuning your investment. So pick that and start investing. Now, as an Indian or anyone who lives in South Asia, you might be quite familiar with your local market. Like I was quite familiar, and I know that India's growth is fantastic. And I kept sending my money from here, converting my strong currency into a weaker currency, investing in Indian market. And that gave me good steady return. But the shocker was when it came for me to withdraw this money and bring it back to the UK to buy a property, I was hit with taxation. I was hit with the currency devaluation. And that meant my real return was quite low in comparison. And I had to go through so much of hurdles to get that money over here. Instead, you can be part of India's growth, but there is different ways to invest. And one of the easiest way to be part of India's growth is investing in an emerging market ETF. Pick one like the iShares Asia Pacific Emerging Market. That one invests all of the top companies in India as well and across Asia market. You're not missing out on India's growth. Instead, you're putting your money in a safer way, in a stronger currency, and investing in that strong currency, and your returns are coming through to you in that strong currency itself. So you're avoiding taxation and you're avoiding currency depreciation as well. That's the best way of diversifying your investment. And if you still want to be part of India's growth, and if you still insist on investing in India, put aside about 20% of your savings or investment money into buying some mutual funds. And as an NRI who's living abroad, here in the UK, it's quite difficult to manage these two markets simultaneously. And if you've got the appetite to manage both of it, I don't discourage you from doing that. And finally, automate all of these things. So when the salary hits, this immediately moves into all of these accounts. That way, your money is automatically segregated and invested, saved, and left in the account for you to concentrate on your specific needs. And you're basically not tying any emotions into it. You're not timing the market or your investment market. Instead, you're steadily investing each month into this account. You're not panicking when the market falls down. And every time the market falls, try and rebalance it. Buy more if you can. If you've got extra money saved up or tucked away inside the sofa, take that money and invest into things which are on a discount at the moment when the market falls. That way you're averaging out your investment, and it gives you the better chance for you to gain momentum and on a long-term basis, when I say 10 to 20 years period, this is going to compound over time. And each calendar month, pick a date for money date and review how your spendings looks like. Assess and see if it needs to be rebalanced, and keep an eye on your investment and your savings. If you follow all these 4 stages, you'll be way ahead of most of the people who have not even thought about investing. And if this video helped you in any ways, consider subscribing. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.